Imagine this for a second. You do a quick search online, maybe click a couple links, watch a video. Seems harmless, right? But with every single thing you do digitally, you're kind of building this invisible copy of yourself, a data doppelganger that's always watching, learning, and maybe even, nudging you. Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're diving into something fascinating, maybe a little unsettling, your digital shadow. This isn't sci-fi. It's the unseen you, the one being observed and influenced online constantly. Our goal here is to really unpack how these shadows get made, how they subtly push your choices without you even noticing, and crucially, what you can actually do about it. We're pulling our insights from this really compelling source, Digital Shadows, your unseen puppet masters. The source itself calls this whole thing a darkly comedic descent into digital horror. And honestly, it's full of surprises, some real aha moments, and maybe a good dose of needed awareness. Okay, let's get into it. Submitted for your approval. A species just kind of handing over autonomy to screens, one cookie click at a time. So, first things first. What is a digital shadow, really? We hear the phrase, but what does it actually mean?
Well, at its heart, it's this invisible force. The source calls it an unseen puppet master, which is pretty vivid. It's constantly logging everything you do online, clicks, hovers, how fast you scroll, you name it. And based on that, it gently steers you towards certain things. It's not just steery. It's the digital footprint you leave, forming what the source calls your digital doppelganger. And this isn't static, it's dynamic. It often knows things about you that even you don't know. It's predictive, it evolved.
Wow. That it knows things we don't. Okay,
Yeah.
So if it's so active, how's it built? Like, what are the mechanics?
Mostly through data harvesting. Every single online action, a search, watching a video, looking at a product, it's all data being collected.
Yeah.
But it's way more detailed than just clicks. It includes stuff like your device type, where you are, your browsing history across sites, how long you linger on a page, even tiny mouse movements.
How do they even collect all that?
Through things like third-party cookies, those invisible pixel tags you find on websites, and something called device fingerprinting. That last one can identify your specific device even if you block cookies. The source nails it with that example. I clicked on one cat video, and now my feed thinks I'm ready to become a professional cat lady with 47 felines.
Huh. Yeah. I think we've all been there.
Exactly. It's that immediate, sometimes overwhelming targeting from just one small action. And it's not just about your past actions. There's this idea the source calls predictive horror. Your digital shadow isn't just looking back, it's trying to predict your future. It's often smart enough to pick up on big life changes, maybe even before you're fully aware.
Like what?
Like maybe you start looking at LinkedIn more or searching for different kinds of jobs that might infer a career change is coming. Or even changes in your health searches could signal something. As the source says, your shadow knows what you'll do next summer and is already selling you the swimwear. The privacy implications are, well, huge.
Right, that predictive part is where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
And maybe a bit creepy. So once it's predicting, how does this shadow actually shape our reality? The source talks about the algorithmic echo chamber.
Right. It effectively creates what the source calls your custom-built matrix. Unlike Neo getting the red or blue pill choice, the source says you don't get that choice. Algorithms decide what reality you see, based on everything from what you buy to, that one weird search you made at 3 a.m.
Right.
They fine-tune what content pops up, which news stories hit your feed, even which opinions you're most likely to encounter. It builds this very personalized world.
But if it's so personalized, so tailored,
Yeah.
what are the downsides? What happens inside that filter bubble?
One big one is the comfort trap, as the source puts it. It's a bit like the pod and the fly. Not that you turn into Jeff Goldblum, thankfully.
Yeah.
But your bubble slowly shapes you into a more extreme version of yourself.
Oh, so
By constantly feeding you stuff that already aligns with what you think and like, it just reinforces those views. It makes it harder to even encounter, let alone tolerate, different perspectives. It sort of narrows your viewpoint over time.
and I guess that has bigger implications too.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Especially in things like political mind control. The source is pretty blunt. Cambridge Analytica wasn't the villain, they were just the beta test.
Wow.
Yeah. It shows how campaigns now use all this detailed data from your digital shadow to target voters based on really specific niche things. Even, like the source says, your hatred of pineapple on pizza.
Seriously. Pineapple pizza preferences.
It sounds trivial, but it illustrates the level of detail. And what's interesting is how the source presents this, not as an endorsement, right? But just observing how data can be used to understand and nudge even really personal tastes. It shows how everyday online stuff gets rolled up and used for potentially significant real-world influence, like on public opinion.
Okay, so we're in these custom realities, maybe being nudged politically. Let's talk about the deliberate manipulation. The source calls it manipulation by design.
Exactly. These are specific tricks, often based on behavioral psychology, called dark UX patterns. UX means user experience, and these patterns are built into websites and apps specifically to manipulate you. The source compares them, kind of darkly funny, to face huggers and Alien. They latch onto your brain before implanting the irresistible urge to click subscribe now.
Okay, face huggers, that's memorable.
Yeah, they're designed to guide your actions, often without you even consciously realizing it's happening.
Can you give us some more examples? What should we be looking out for?
Sure. A really common one is FOMO weaponized, playing on that fear of missing out. You know those alerts like only 2 tickets left or sale ends in 5 minutes?
Oh yeah, those are everywhere.
Right. The source says it's like the killer calling from inside the house. It's tapping into your own insecurity. It pressures you to act fast based on that fear of losing out. Then there's the whole idea of you are the lab rat. Think about A/B testing.
Where they show different people different versions of a page.
Exactly. They see which version works better, gets more clicks, more signups. It's basically a constant experiment running on all of us, all the time. The source calls it the digital version of The Maze and The Shining. But instead of Jack Nicholson, it's targeted ads for that thing you whispered about yesterday. We're constantly being tested and optimized.
So we're not just the product, we're also the test subjects in the lab where they refine how to sell the product. Which leads us neatly to the money side of it all, wallet snatchers, as the source puts it.
Yeah, the fundamental truth is pretty stark.
Yeah.
In the digital economy, you are the product, and business is booming. The source adds, a bit wryly, they don't want your soul, just your recurring monthly subscription.
Yeah.
It's not always about malice, necessarily. It's just the relentless drive to make money from every bit of data, every interaction. Your attention, your likes, your habits, they're all valuable commodities being bought and sold.
Okay, beyond the economic side, what about the bigger picture, the
Yeah.
real-world repercussions? What are the deeper societal impacts here?
They run pretty deep, actually. One idea is the social credit nightmare. The source compares it to that Black Mirror episode, Nosedive.
Where your rating affects everything.
Kind of like that, yeah. But instead of people, it's faceless algorithms deciding if you qualify for a mortgage, a loan, maybe even an apartment. And it could be based on things like your Netflix binge habits or other online patterns. Your digital shadow could accidentally create a profile that limits your real-world opportunities.
That's chilling.
Then there's the digital conformity machine. The source references the movie The Thing, where they had to prove they were human. Online, it's almost the opposite. You kind of have to prove you're normal enough to avoid algorithmic suspicion.
What do you mean normal enough?
Well, if your interests are too niche or your patterns deviate too much from the perceived norm, you might get flagged, maybe get different treatment, different offers, who knows. It creates this subtle pressure to conform online. And maybe the most personal is the relationship terminator. Your digital shadow can actually become like the third wheel in every relationship.
How? Affecting relationships.
Subtly influencing who you connect with. The source gives this funny but kind of unnerving example. I'm sorry, Dave, I can't let you date someone with opposing political memes in their share history.
Okay, that's an exaggeration, hopefully.
It is, but it makes the point, right? How algorithms could filter or influence our connections based on data points that seem totally unrelated. Thinking bigger picture, it really makes you question the boundaries of this digital influence. How much are our friendships, our dating lives, even job connections being curated or limited by these unseen algorithms?
That is a lot to think about. It really feels like this shadow is way more active than we realize, almost dictating parts of our lives. To really bring this home, let's get into some of those true horror stories the source mentions, where algorithms really impacted people.
Yeah, the source has some really jarring examples that make this stuff concrete. There's John, who was rejected for apartment rentals 17 times. Why? His apparent crime was liking too many cat videos, which the algorithm decided made him unstable.
Seriously, cat videos made him seem unstable.
According to that specific algorithm, yes. It's a direct, real-world consequence from seemingly harmless online activity. Then there's Sarah. Her insurance doubled after her Fitbit reported she took too many bathroom breaks. The algorithmic diagnosis, suspiciously hydrated.
You're kidding. Based on Fitbit data.
Yep. Shows how health data meant for you can be turned around and used against you financially. And Mark, who lost his dream job when AI flagged his concerning interest in horror movies. But the twist, He'd been researching for his film degree.
Oh, wow. So the context was completely missed.
Exactly. It highlights the danger of algorithms making these judgments without any context, leading to potentially devastating career outcomes. These aren't just hypotheticals, they're real examples of digital shadows causing tangible harm.
Those stories are genuinely unsettling. They feel like they could happen to anyone. So, okay, facing this, the kind of bleak picture, what does it mean for us? How can we actually fight back against these unseen puppet masters? Is there anything we can do?
There is. The good news, as the source says, is even Ellen Ripley eventually defeated the Xenomorphs. We can reclaim some control. It starts with what the source calls digital self-defense. You need to arm yourself. Install privacy tools like their flamethrowers in a zombie apocalypse.
Okay, flamethrowers. What kind of tools?
The source specifically mentions things like uBlock Origin and Privacy Badger, these block trackers and unwanted ads. Plus, it advises a healthy dose of paranoia. These tools are really your first line of defense to control your browsing data better.
Got it. Tools first. What else?
Beyond tools, you need to develop BS detectors. Basically, train yourself to spot manipulation and algorithmic nudges. Think of it like in John Carpenter's They Live, where the sunglasses revealed the hidden messages. For us, the source says, critical thinking is your special sunglasses.
So, media literacy, questioning what we see.
Exactly. Ask yourself why you're seeing a specific ad or piece of content. Consider the source. Don't just accept things passively. And finally, you need to actively take back control. This means things like regularly clearing your cookies, using incognito or private browsing modes more often. And here's a fun tactical one from the source. Occasionally search for things you hate, confuse the algorithms like you're fighting the mind flayer from Stranger Things.
Throw them off the scent.
Sort of. By deliberately diversifying your digital footprint, adding some noise, you make it harder for them to build a perfectly predictable profile of you. It messes with their categorization. Ultimately, in this digital horror show, awareness really is your best weapon. Just understanding how these systems operate is the crucial first step to lessening their unseen influence.
That's actually a really practical and, empowering way to look at it.
Yeah.
After digging into something so complex and subtle. What a deep dive. It really highlights how these digital shadows are constantly being built and used, often in ways we don't even realize, influencing everything from purchases to maybe even relationships. It's a potent reminder that every click, every like, every search adds another layer to this unseen version of ourselves.
And maybe leave you with this thought to chew on. If these shadows are already so good at predicting and influencing us now, what happens when algorithms aren't just predicting, but actively designing our reality based on this ever-growing digital imprint? How much real free will is left when the line between own choices and those algorithmic nudges gets blurrier and blurrier, woven deeply into just everyday life?
Those are definitely powerful questions for all of us to think about as we navigate things online. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Remember to use that critical thinking, check out those privacy tools, and hey, maybe go confuse an algorithm today. Until next time, stay curious and stay informed.